Actually making $100 a day with print on demand is fairly easy. It just requires you to consistently post listings. The issue is that sitting there and posting one listing after the other can be quite time consuming. In this video, I'll give you my entire process to go from idea to a finished product listing in the fastest way possible, regardless of what product you're selling or where you're selling it online. Now, the fastest way to become part of the 1% is to smash subscribe. 99% of people aren't subscribed to my channel, so by clicking subscribe, you immediately put yourself in the 1%. Now, step number 1 is to batch your products. This saves you a ton of time later on. The way that this works is you make your designs based on an interest group. Now, these groups could include people that are interested in race cars, knitting, writing novels, or coding. Instead of just making one design for each of those interest groups, the method which I teach in my design tutorial is you'll take each one of those interest groups and make as many designs for it as possible. That could look like making 50 Entrepreneur Bro motivational mugs all at once. Doing this allows you to make a bunch of listings that probably won't sell, but you'll also get a few that will surprise you and start ranking organically in search, just by doing the volume. Basically, unless you really know what you're doing, don't try to make a bunch of one-off designs. Try and upload them in batches based on interest groups. For example, let's say that these are your current templates and you're using them to sell mugs to surfers, and we would just want to switch them out for whatever idea we're trying to sell to next. Now, these are just for the sake of example. I'd obviously recommend making better designs than I have here. But doing it on interest group, like we've done right here with writers, it's a lot easier to come into your day and just know that you're going to make a bunch of designs for the same interest group instead of trying to find all these one-off designs that you need to make. You already have your templates, so just fill them in with a new interest group and you'll be good to go. This just makes it a whole lot easier than saying I need 50 designs today and I have no idea what to make. Now, I've only got 5 templates here, but you can use as many as you want. In my case, I usually use about 50. Actually, making a good design template is usually the hardest part. Once we've filled these out, all we have to do is select them and come down to the bottom where it says export, and we're gonna export our layers. And when it brings up your Finder, just save them to a folder where you can easily find them so that we can upload them in a second, and I'll just click save. Now, step number 2 is inside Printify, we need to save some uploading presets. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to search for the type of product that we're selling. In this case, it's gonna be a mug, but you can sell whatever product you'd like to. And I'm just gonna click on Start Designing. Now, I wanna make sure that I have all of the variations. So if you're selling a shirt, you'll wanna check all of the colors that you're gonna be selling. And here's where we can upload our first design. So I'm just gonna click My Device and click the design that I'm uploading. Now I can shrink this down to the appropriate size, and I'll stick it over here. And then I can copy it and put it over on the other side. Now you can double check and make sure this looks good, but I know it's in the right spot. So I'm just gonna hit Save Product. For the title, we're just gonna call this mug number 1. And in the description, this is where you want to tell the customer as much as you can about the product so that they don't have to message you asking you questions. Now, the best way that I've found to come up with a great description is just by looking at other listings like this one. So this is a successful listing. It has a lot of good reviews on it. I get, almost 550 reviews. And if we just look at their description, we can tell what kind of information we should include. So it's telling us that graphics are printed on both sides. It comes in 11 and 15 ounce. It's dishwasher and microwave safe. So this is the type of information that we would want to include. Now, I'm just going to be lazy and copy this and paste it in our own description, but you can't really do this. I'm not gonna be selling this one. This is just for the sake of example. So I'm gonna paste this in, and then maybe you would want to add some kind of draw attention here. We could add something like a production time and say it's 1 to 3 days. Shipping times are maybe 2 to 4 days. And yeah, something like that. Just give them as much information as you can and kind of draw their attention to the description so that they don't feel like messaging you with all these questions that can be answered right here. The idea with the description is you set it once now so that you'll never have to do it again. So crafting a great description is kind of boring and tedious up front, but it's really worth it in the long term. Now, when you see this shipping section, we're just going to ignore that for now and we'll come back to it later. We can't really edit it inside of Printify. But the next section that we do need to edit is the prices and variants. So this is going to show you what the retail price is for each one of the products. So you can see that the 11 ounce is currently priced at $9.80 and the 15 ounce is also at $9.80. Now, this is important to keep in mind because if we look at an example mug like this one on Etsy, you can see that it's selling for about $20, but the retail price is $24.95. And that's because they have a 20% off coupon running. So for example, if we wanted to sell these mugs for $9.99, but we're always going to be running a 50% off coupon, then we actually need to double the price to $19.98 so that we still get our $9.99 retail price after the 50% off sale is applied. I hope that makes sense. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is that some variations are going to be priced differently inside of Printify. So the 15 ounce mug costs more to produce and to ship. So you might want to adjust the profit margin and set it the same, and that will kind of help your costs, your profit margin always remain the same no matter what the customer is buying. Now, besides pricing, there's only one more option that we need to check. We just have to check show all variants as available for purchase. This means if My Locker, the company who we selected for this mug, runs out of one of the mugs, customers can still order that size mug. It'll just get routed and printed with a different facility when an order comes in. So that'll get you the most amount of sales. Now we can save this as a draft. And now I can show you how easy this is to make copies. So all we're gonna do is click this copy listing button. We'll click the edit paintbrush and we can delete our old design and I can upload our second one. Right here, I can just scale it down to a good size. Maybe we'll do something like that. Copy it, move it over, hit save. I can call this mug number 2 and I can hit save. And you can see how fast this is to make a bunch of copy listings. So I can do this again, add a design. I'll do number 3. We'll shrink it down. Again, hopefully your design templates are a little bit nicer than the ones that I'm using in this video. This is just for an example. Save product. And you can see really how fast this can go. So we've already done 3 mugs and we spent a lot of the time on the first mug just getting the presets ready. Hopefully you're able to see that after you get all the presets, like the description and all of the settings really dialed in, you can just copy that and reuse that listing and you don't have to change anything except the design. So then you just have to select those designs, hit publish, and it'll post them directly to your Shopify or Etsy shop, depending on where you're selling. Now, the third biggest time saver is to batch edit your listings. Using the Shopify or Etsy editor takes way too long. So instead of doing it the slow way, I use a program called Vela. Now, this is basically just a bulk editing tool. It allows you to connect a bunch of different shops and copy your listings back and forth, which is super useful if you have an Etsy and a Shopify account, for example, and it makes this bulk editing super easy to do. Now, disclaimer, it does cost $5 a month. You do not need this Vela Plus, at least for beginners. You only need the abilities that are in Vela Lite, so make sure that you get that. The $5 a month is absolutely worth the amount of time that it's going to save you. You'll see all of the listings that you just uploaded. So you can go ahead and check all of your recent uploads and just hit edit however many listings. Now, to show you kind of how this works, if I go to the description and I start typing something, so I'm just going to type something here, you can see that for every listing that's checked, it's going to apply that edit to the product. So it'll say something like before, after, change to, you can find and replace, a bunch of different options. And as long as the listing is checked, then it'll apply that edit. So this works for all of the variants and all of the details that we can edit. So if we go into the shipping profile, for example, we can search for a standard shipping profile and we could apply that to all of our products at once. That way we don't have to go edit each one individually. Now, besides the shipping profiles, there's only a couple more settings that you really need to change inside of Vela. And that's going to be your tags, title, and your photos. So let's do the tags right now. Now, getting great tags is super important because this is how you rank organically without having to pay for traffic. So I can come to Etsy and I'll just search for something similar to what I'm selling right now. And you can see what type of products come up. So I kind of like this one. It's a funny writer mug and we can see how well it's doing. So you can see it has 117 reviews. Now, if I just scroll down to the bottom, this section is where all of the tags are put. So you can pretty much copy down the tags. You can add your own if you feel like they're necessary. Since I use the Allura plugin, I can just run the Allura plugin and I can just copy all of the tags to my clipboard. Now, when I come in here, I can paste them in and hit apply. And you can see it applies all of those tags from a winning listing to my mugs that I'm uploading. Next is the title. So I can go into the title and I'm pretty much going to do the same thing. So I'm going to look here and I'm going to see that this is a winning title because it's ranked this product high organically. I can copy it and I'm just going to come back in here and I'm just going to change all of them to this new title. Now, we're not going to copy their title directly, but we are going to use it for the base keywords. Now that we have that, we can remove any irrelevant keywords. So right here, this is kind of an irrelevant keyword since it's not on our mug that we're selling. So we're just going to replace it with nothing. And then I can just go through and I can change around where these keywords are positioned. So let's say I like this keyword, and for this mug, I want to move it to the front. And then here I can maybe add this keyword to the front. And then we can also just go in and add any other keywords that we want to spice things up or get us to rank in different searches. Now we know that we have winning keywords in our titles and tags, and all that's left is the photos section. Now here's where I should mention that if you haven't seen my mockup tutorial, you should definitely watch that after this video. It will teach you how you can automatically make hundreds of mockups without having to touch your computer or use bad mockups like the ones you find on Placeit. You can literally start the script running, go get coffee, and come back 20 minutes later, and all of your mockups will be finished. So make sure that you watch that video. It's super important to this whole process if you want to do things quickly. Now, once you have all of your mockups done, you can see that I have some in this folder that I created right here. All we have to do is just drag them into our Vela. So you can see I just drag it in and it will upload the photo as a mockup listing. So literally all I have to do is drag these designs in and it will apply it onto whatever slot you drag the image onto. So there you go. Now we've done the 5 images and we don't even have to click anything else. The images are pretty much done. The last thing you might want to add is some kind of info card like this right here. You can see it just tells you how you can use it, and you can drag this in and it'll apply it to all of the listings all at once. Just hit apply. And so that's super useful for size charts or info charts that are gonna go on every single listing that aren't mockups. And after that, you're pretty much done. You just want to hit sync updates, and this will apply all of those changes that you've just made onto all of the products. Now, I only did 5 here, but you could do this for as many products as you want, as long as they're all within the same idea. Now, the reason that you want to stick to one interest group is because when you go searching for people that want to do skydiving and coding, it's going to be a lot harder to get those title and tags, when instead, if you did 50 different skydiving shirts, the tags are all going to be very similar for all 50 listings. And again, it's so important to do the batching because when you go to do something like writer mugs, you can just apply the same tags or very similar tags to all of your listings all at once, instead of having to go hunt for particular tags and particular titles for a bunch of different interest groups. Again, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're using titles and tags from proven listings that are ranking high in search. You're gonna wanna use great mockups, not necessarily the exact ones that I'm using in this video. And you're going to want to make good designs. Again, not exactly like the ones I'm making in this video. This is the exact process that I use to go from an idea of an interest group to finished products posted online that will start selling. I can't even explain how many hours this process has saved me without having to go back and edit all these little details. Just use templates and presets and just start running the process until you can really get it down. Now that you finished this video, my mockup video and my design tutorial will make a lot more sense, so go check those out now.